Hey, hey, hey. This is part one of the Loaded Wednesday slate on Sideline Sports. That is the Pundit's Pundit. I am your host, Denzel Snipes. And I just want to remind everybody that if you are watching from YouTube, to please hit that like and subscribe button to Sideline Sports. We have a lot of great material because right now there's the Pundit's Pundit. And then next is going to be the Sports Exchange. After that's going to be Confidential. We got a really great All-Star Week edition show planned out for you all. And of course, if you're on Facebook and whatnot, just go ahead and follow us on there and everything. Just know that you can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, DBTV, Stream TV. So we're everywhere. And also, you can catch the Sideline Sports Show on the NFL Alumni website. But let's get everybody in here. First of all, he is the architect of this very show. And you can catch his show, Pundit Views, which is in its last stretch. Okay, so you really want to tune in because come August, it's done. And we got a new show coming for you, okay? That's Pundit Views, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on in here, Jacob J.C. Christner.
Yeah. No, you mean architect, I'm engineer, maybe contractor here and there, builder, something like that,
Yeah. Also, best lighting of any episode we've ever had.
This is very true, and I'm going to keep it this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Great seeing you, man. Looking forward to a great show. And I mentioned the South Florida Tribune and the Sports Exchange, which is coming up next on the South Florida Tribune on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. This man is the captain of the South Florida Tribune Ship Enterprise or Scotta Prize, whatever you want to call it. He is Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morgan Roth. Come on in here.
All right. Glad to be back with you guys. I missed you on Sunday, but I ran out of gas like any vehicle does once in a while. But glad to be back on. Looking forward to talking some hard-nosed topics. It'll be really good. We have a pretty good thing going on here with all the shows that we do. But tonight we'll add a little bit more intrigue for what lies ahead afterwards. But first, take care of business with Pundit.
Just so you know, it just sounds weird that somebody named Motor City Mad Mouth and ran out of gas doesn't go well in the same sentence.
No, it didn't go well on Sunday either, but I got news for you. When you're working your tail off to try to not only build this, but my other gig as well with the Eagle Corporate and trying to build that broadcasting division from the ground up, then to me, I think it's a good challenge, and I really look forward to it. And the future is bright for not only us at Sideline, but the Tribune as I continue to work on other ways to plug all the networks together to maximize our exposure, and that's what I'm working diligently to do now.
Absolutely. Nothing like because with any bit of diligence, of course, it's going to pay off. But well, coming back on the show now, it feels like a while since we've seen this guy. He is broadcasting all the way live from the great state of Ohio. Come on in here, Jordan Long. By way of Colorado, he's up in Ohio. He's like on tour or something. He saw a Fall Out Boy concert, but he's here. He's back. Jordan Long, what's going on, man?
Not much. It does feel like I'm tour. I mean, half the time I'm in Colorado, half the time I'm in Ohio when I'm with you guys. So, yeah, it does feel like I'm on tour.
Yes, absolutely. Great seeing you, man. And just want to remind everybody that, let me see here, that the Sports Exchange via South Florida Tribune coming up next. And then also, like I said, Pundit Views Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so now let's get into our first one, and that is Pundit Points.
One second. Jordan, did you say you're out?
I can find one. I've got one if I need to. So
got one? Okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay. I'll go ahead and kick this one off. Pundit Points. Let's go. So, UFC heavyweight champion John Jones will win the 2023 ESPYs for Fight of the Year. He defeated Cyril Grace to win the UFC World Heavyweight Championship in 24 seconds. So the criticisms have been rolling in. People feel like others were more deserving. Adesanya beating Pereira in April, it was said it was kind of a career-defining moment. Not to mention last year's ESPYs, minus the pandemic era, was the least watched since 2013 and had the lowest rating since 2011. And the final kind of subpoint here was that Jones won the fan vote against Makhachev, Amanda Nunes, and Leon Edwards. Now, it's not I'm not here to talk about whether Jones deserves it or not. Me personally, I was happy to see him come back and win, But this is reminding me of the fan vote for NBA All-Star, And when you have those controversial picks, because there's always snubs, there's always talk about who's deserving and who's not. And there has been talk about should it go back to judges or voters, rather, a panel of voters to vote people in the NBA All-Star game. Should it go back to a panel of voters that get paid to do that to vote who should win SP awards? Once again, congratulations to John Jones, but it's worthy of a conversation, and maybe we'll revisit this one in a bit of a part two sometime in the near future.
Denzel, it's amazing how you do talk about the ESPYs. For some reason or another, though, I don't feel like celebrating the ESPYs. Why? ESPN just laid off 20 people, and they continue to lay off great talent. So who cares about the ESPYs? I've never really been fond of the awards anyhow, just honoring an individual play. I've always been a firm believer that players are expected to make those plays because they get paid a lot of money. So sorry if I'm not in an ESPY mood today, but 20 talented people, and prior to that, there were a lot of other talented people that were laid off. I don't even care. So take it from there.
In a season where the Colorado Rockies have been terrible, they're 34 and 57, 18 games out of first place. Of course, they're in the National League West Division. They're looking like they're going to end up losing 100 games. But on a bright note, the Rockies only had one All-Star, and that's Elias Diaz, who earned All-Star MVP honors because of the fact that he had a home run that helped the National League win. Even though it's been a bad year, at least the Rockies have one bright spot. Finally, an MLB All-Star MVP. I know it's not something not to brag about, but at least we have an MVP in the All-Star game.
You all right there? You all right there, Jordan? Didn't get to see you on that one. All right. Anyway, I wanted to say this. The internet, as the media likes to call it, has been famous today. So famous. I mean, so many things that I saw today, it just made me never want to comment on it again. If I can help myself. See, I'd say about an hour ago, I did a comment to a guy from the Independent who was talking about how he hates Mission Impossible, this most recent one, because it's misogynistic, and all the pandering, all that stuff like that, and it's so terrible. And he had his 4 friends, so I went after him as I would usually do, but then I erased it, and I'll tell you why. Part of the reason was I remembered this morning that someone from the Huffington Post got on Kristen Bell and went for the attack because she decided to have a picture of a private party with her friends, and they were all white, every single one of them. And there's the attacks from people online because they're stupid. And then she had to bring it up because she's stupid. Then what else do you get? The debate. Is Margot Robbie a mid? Is she a mid? She's just mid-level, that good looks. This is coming from people obviously addicted to porn. That's that kind of deal. Then you have somebody that's trying to say that Brock Purdy is in the same level as Patrick Mahomes, just because the numbers were the same in certain areas or whatever. And it's like, and they will do this debate, and it's like, we are promoting, and I had to kill that because I need to kill a lot of things. I need to kill a lot of comments by itself. Maybe never comment again, and just let this voice right here be big. Let everybody else comment on me. They can say what they want to do because they sure can't help it right now. It really, and I mean, the stupidity annoys me. And then it became even worse. News reports on it, calling it the internet, Twitter, whatever. Why is this news? But we learn, and everything is over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, maybe by itself, I'm being as stupid as they are by commenting on them. It's just stupid. That's kind of stupid going on stupid, don't you think? I just want to maybe by itself. I can't leave social media because I need to promote our shows. I need to promote Sideline Sports, movies, everything that I do. But I don't need to be doing this part anymore because I know I'm smarter than this. I know they aren't.
All right. And the crew back in here. Those were our pundit points. And just as a
Jordan,
reminder,
where are you?
where's
Where
Jordan?
am I?
You're dark.
Is he dark? He's actually frozen. Hey, try leaving and coming back.
Okay.
Okay. Just a reminder as everyone, you can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, DBTV, and Stream TV, as well as the NFL Alumni Media website for the Sideline Sports Show as well. That right there is always brought to you, hosted by uh, Jake Malik, JB Ellis, Dave DeRochers, and John Shear. Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Sideline Sports Network. And let's see if he... Okay. Can you hear us?
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Much better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get on to our first topic. And this one right here, pretty interesting. So, late AFLW player Heather Anderson has been deemed the first athlete to be diagnosed with CTE. She died in November of 2022 at the age of 28.
Latest, right? Is it?
No, I say
away.
well,
Did
I
she
say
pass
late
away?
because I say late in the terms of because she died.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, not the latest, but a few. Because I mean, this was yours, right, Jacob?
Nope, Scott.
Scott. Okay. Well, before you go ahead, let's see. She was an Australian football player, female Australian football player. She also was a medic in the Australian Defence Force. She played rugby and Australian rules football during the contact sports career, which began at age 5 and spanned 18 years. So, Scott, kicking it off with you. Your thoughts about this whole thing?
Yeah, I cannot believe when I saw this that we would be looking at CTE with females, let alone Australian rules football. 7 games and she got it. That to me is the most mind-boggling thing in the world. I'm not saying that females or males cannot get it, but 7 games, doesn't it make you wonder what kind of trauma she had going into the situation that led up to the 7 games being played for this to ultimately happen? That's the part that blows me away. It really, really is. I mean, we see CTE many times, especially with NFL players, but also in high contact sport. Hockey, I'm sure you probably have a fair amount. I don't know what you have in baseball. Basketball, I haven't heard as many cases, but hockey and football the most. But this, we're coming off the All-Star game. This was a curveball that I never saw coming. Rest in peace, really, to this young lady. She had it all ahead of her. But then it makes you wonder, and I'm not questioning Australia in terms of their medical system or any of that, but they've got to be thinking deep down inside, how does this happen so young? Or do we just not know enough about CTE? Because we here don't even know about CTE until after the individual's deceased. But this just seemed to happen way too early. This blows my mind. But I definitely felt it was worth bringing to our attention anyhow, because we know CTE is a hot tamale, especially when it comes to head injuries.
Yes, it does. And when there was another tidbit that I read, and this also is a lesson in players have to protect themselves even by doing the basics. And when I say this, I'm not victim blaming, but in an article it said that she actually chose not to wear a helmet on more than one occasion, was even reminded by her own mother to do so because her mother didn't like seeing her go through all that rough punishment on the field without some sort of protection on. I want to swing it over to Jordan Long and get your thoughts about this whole thing.
I think it's great. I didn't realize that she was that young, as Scott mentioned. But I mean, if she wasn't wearing a helmet and she was asked to do so by her mother, that just shows you how dangerous it is. And I agree with Scott. What do they do to monitor CTE in Australia? It just makes you wonder what's going on over there. I really thought that if you look at Australia, I thought maybe it would be a soccer player that would be the first one because I know soccer isn't a whole contact sport, but you use your head with headers and all that. But to realize that it's an Australian football league where you can't get CTA, or, it's a full contact sport. It just boggles the mind that at I think you said 22 is when she was. Excuse
Yeah.
me, she only had 22 and 7 games in. That's just crazy to me. I mean, it just makes you wonder what she had before that, and if the symptoms weren't even there. It's just crazy. It's mind-boggling, really, to be that young and be diagnosed with it after the fact.
7 games in. That's the thing that we can't lose sight of. 7 games in. Now, again, I don't follow Australian rules football much. Anyways, the only time I ever knew anything about it was when ESPN launched in 1979, when that's what they showed when they couldn't get any other content until they
Mhm.
graduated to the better stuff. But I don't know, do men and women wear helmets in that sport nowadays? I don't know. I haven't watched it before, so I don't want to play the ignorance card, but I remember many years ago when Jacques Plante was the first goaltender to wear a mask, everybody laughed at him in the NHL. But how many careers and faces did that say when Jacques Plante did? Why do I know about it? Because many, many years ago, another lifetime ago, I wrote a story on Jacques Plante here in South Florida when I was living here back then. But everybody looked at him as always crazy. But how many goaltenders now are probably thankful that somebody took it upon themselves to do it? But I don't know. Do men? I know women are supposed to. I mean, and we talk about protective headgear in boxing during amateurs, and then they don't wear it as professionals.
It's
But
pros, yeah.
right, so therefore, there's conscience of the younger brain, if I can use that term loosely. But do the men wear helmets? I don't even know. But for this to happen 7 games in at 28, it still blows me away.
Well,
Yeah,
it
it
even
absolutely
reminds me
does.
of rugby. I mean, you look at how much contact there is. Yes, some of them wear a little helmets, but otherwise, most men don't. It's crazy because as a guy, I would want to protect myself, even if I'm playing a contact sport.
Right, absolutely. And finally, with Jacob, round this thing out, your thoughts about this whole situation?
But remember, the 7 games in, which means the the female skeleton is showing to be, yeah, it is. I mean, here's the thing: it's not bad. It's just real. It is smaller. It
Yeah,
isn't as strong.
and you know what? And before you continue, think about this, and now think about whenever people say females should be allowed into the NFL. You know how every now and again that talk spins up? Go ahead,
Hmm.
Jacob.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, I can just. I mean, that's another one that makes me shake my head from my pundit sling. It's just you just have too many stupid people in this world that's got a voice. And I mean, we're just saying these type of things. See, there was a see. I'll tell you this. We know Scott. Okay, I'm 40, going on 45. You're 40, and then Jordan, you're 30,
I'm 35.
35. Yeah. You know something? There's maybe we sound like the quote unquote dinosaurs, but you know something? There was a reason we grew up watching Chris Everett and Martina and Chris Everett and all them in tennis. Pretty little white skirts and everything like that, and they lobbed the ball. But you know something? They didn't get hurt. Not like
No.
that. They
Mm.
they didn't get hurt. Not like that at all. We didn't think about putting them into the football or doing everything and get all that kind of stuff. It's remember when we were talking about that one female, the ball player, didn't do that well, but I mean she was in the thing, and like I said, what happens if she gets hit?
Hmm.
And it's like this isn't a thing against women. See, this is what the little Gen Zs or millennials don't want to understand when they're commenting on the Independent or Huffington Post. We grew up. You did not hurt women. You protected them.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
protect women. You protect men take the brunt. I mean, here's the thing now. Women are stronger than they ever have been in their life, and congratulations to them. They're better athletes they've ever been in their life, and congratulations to them. But in the sequence of going with the whole deal with men, now they're hurt. Now they're hurt. Now you get CTE in a little situation which it could get worse elsewhere. And it's like we wanted to protect for a reason. There's just some of us, or all of a ton of us that do. We're not Andrew Tate. I'm not Andrew Tate here. I'm not him. This isn't that whole thing. My whole point is stronger man, stronger woman build strong kids. His whole thing is misogynistic as all get out. I ain't gonna play that. This is the thing though. The men are meant to protect the women for a reason. We don't want you hurt. We don't want you. We're not saying go cook. We're not saying any of that. This is a different era. You are stars now in your own right. But to go into the men's world, you have to understand the consequences, and there's not the skeletons and all that are not set for it. And they won't be, no matter what you want to call yourselves. And the thing is, we need to have normality and sanity back to something on something like this. Because I don't want to see women hurt. I have an old school in that way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing about it is this is something that because it was a Vanderbilt kicker, female kicker that came in there
Oh
and
yeah.
kicked a few games for the Vanderbilt
Two games.
Commodores.
2 games,
Two
actually.
games, yep. And then the talk came about it, and it's like, look, no. Listen, we can't go over there and play with them. So no, they shouldn't be allowed, but they can have their own league, and that's okay. That's totally fine. I'm all for it, you know. But you look at this one now. You look at what tons of male NFL players go through a CTE. And then you look at what this woman went through 7 games in. And now you're talking about like, oh, well, we want women to play in the NFL. Like, y'all, I'm not gonna hear. I'm not here to like over criticize or anything, but really, okay, now screw it. I'll just say it. You sound dumb. You sound absolutely dumb. If males are going through a ton of trouble, head injuries and whatnot, and they're still fighting for compensation right now, especially former black NFL athletes when it comes to CTE. If they're going through all that, what do you think a woman's gonna do? These are grown men. Grown men, bigger, faster, stronger, and let this be dedicated to any modern day feminist. Okay, at the end of the day, you cannot defeat biology. This woman, unfortunately, died at the age of 28 after 7 games, and she played with females.
And think about this when we talk about this. They talked about way back in the time, Lisa Leslie, the NBA. They talked about that too. Lisa Leslie was 6'6".
Yeah.
Okay, post up on Shaq.
What
Shaq's
happened?
wrist is bigger than her.
Mm-hmm.
That is, people have to understand. This doesn't mean Lisa Leslie wasn't a great ball player. She's a wonderful ball player.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the all-time women greats. I mean, Cheryl Miller. We know all this type of thing. But these are bigger athletes.
Yeah.
Stronger athletes. I don't want to put Ronda. Here's the deal. I don't want to put Ronda Rousey in a man's ring. I don't want to because her husband is 6'9". And do you want to put her in with him? No, it would cave her in and kill her.
And you know what? Before you continue, I actually saw it was a clip the other day, and someone was saying, the woman would have a chance if they was in the same weight class. And it's like, all right, so Ronda goes at about 145, right? You know who else goes at about 140, 145? Floyd Mayweather. So if you put her in a ring with Mayweather, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And the thing is, okay, put him in the weight class. No, they would not. Not at all. You got to remember, someone like Floyd Mayweather took Conor McGregor's very best left hook in a 4th round of that thing. Very best. Literally solid. Took it. What is he going to do with her? And does that mean the women aren't badass? Oh, God, no. The greatest one. Ronda Rousey started the whole thing with the women's division. One of the greatest women fighters we know, Holly Holm, same thing. It's biology again.
Yeah, it's simple biology, and they can be. Nunez is a badass. Rousey was a badass. Chris Cyborg. They can be a badass. They can be a badass toward each other. Have them face women. And once again, and we're not going to go too deep into this. We got to go to the next topic. No, I am not talking about a transgender coming and fighting in the female division. No, this is not where we're going towards.
We're
not even going to touch that no more.
We're not
With
talking
that
about
being
Fallon
said,
Fox. One real quickly. We're not talking Fallon Fox, but no. One real quickly. Remember who was the wrestler? The wrestler who I forget for a second. She was the one who was almost kidnapped and she had to run with her girlfriend.
When was that?
No. Anyway, there was a thing. It was one of the WWE wrestlers. You'll probably get it after a second. She had her girlfriend. There was a kidnapper came into the house. She went and brought her girlfriend out the back door. You want to know what this girl is? A trained MMA fighter with like 2 or 3 black belts. What he had was a couple of knives and duct tape, and she ran anyway.
Yep.
Is this guy breaking into Booker T's house?
No.
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 Is he breaking into Undertaker?
No.
No.
No. That's the point. And it's like, that's Sonya Deville, by the way. Sonya Deville. I was
Okay,
thinking of that. Yeah, but that does not reject Sonya Deville. She's a highly trained badass. But again, when a man went, she ran, and we did all that stuff, and she's highly trained. That guy's not going into Booker T's house.
Yeah.
It's a different biology. It's a different mindset. It's a different everything. It is.
Yes, it absolutely is. And even if he broke in and didn't have knives and he was a trained MMA fighter at the same size as Sonya Deville, it would have ended up ugly for Sonya Deville, period. It's just biology, okay, period. But
doesn't mean that doesn't mean she's weak.
yeah,
Doesn't mean she was off.
Mm-hmm.
She'll fight. She'll probably butch you up a little bit before she gets hurt. But the thing is, that guy was never ever going to go into a Booker T's house and go after Sharmell. No, we already know what will happen.
Booker T goes about 270, and he's probably got guns in his house. But
he's got guns in his house, and he's guns too.
Yeah, exactly. But going on to our next topic here, and that is that Bob Baffert's suspension will go into 2024. Now,
Jordan.
I was looking at Jordan, this was yours? All right, okay.
Yep.
So before I swing it over to you, CBS article said why he's suspended for a second consecutive year. Let's see here. He says, I just moved on. His 2-year suspension issued by Churchill Downs because of what happened with Medina Spirit in 2021. He's a 4-time recipient of the Eclipse Award for Outstanding Trainer, 97, 98, 99, and 2015. One of the most well-known trainers in horse racing history. His horses have registered a record number of 16 Triple Crown race wins, including a record time 6 victories at the Kentucky Derby. He's serving a 2-year suspension because Medina Spirit was disqualified for testing positive for betamethasone, which is an anti-inflammatory steroid. It's legal in Kentucky, but the rules state it can't be used on the day of the race. So, Jordan, since this is you, man, go ahead and start us off.
The thing about it is we know that he's, a great horse trainer. It just makes me wonder how often he did this before the Medina in 2021. The thing is, though, is he has said, I've moved on. But the thing about it is he still cheated. And I do think that, 2 to 3 years is probably long enough. This guy's 70. It's time for him to move on. Let the horse racing community heal and move on. But the thing is he did cheat. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And then I just wonder what's going to happen the next time he has a horse in the Kentucky Derby. Will they look at him and be like, oh, he's still a cheater? Who knows? But the thing is he trained these horses. It makes you wonder how much he has cheated beforehand. We don't know. At least he's suspended for another year to think about it. But I think, honestly, it's time to move on and let him back into the horse racing community to see if he's learned.
Yeah, and I know he's been well-renowned in the sport, and I don't think that he wants to have his career go out on this type of note.
Exactly.
I think he wants the opportunity to come back for, after the suspension, maybe 1 more race, 2 more races, either win it all or finish real good, and then maybe he'll retire. And, whenever you bring up the, banned substances and everything like that, we can go football, we can go baseball and whatnot. Let's be real, Jordan. It happens in every sport. You can't catch everyone. You can't catch everyone. He's happened to get caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. Who knows how many trainers out there have those horses roided up? And I mean, It sucks. It should fall under animal cruelty, in my opinion. But what can I say? It's about winning. It's not a route I would take, but it's about winning. Any one of them will tell you it's about getting the win. Is it going too far? Absolutely. In my opinion. Maybe y'all feel different. Maybe the people at home feel different. But it's all about the win when you're in professional sports, especially when you're getting paid like a fortune, ransom amount of money, to do what you do. They're going to do everything they can to win. But I want to swing it over to Scott and your thoughts on Bob Baffert's suspension to go into next year.
Well, one sport you didn't mention is one that probably is guilty of them more than anything. I call it the Tour de Farce, not the Tour de France.
That's right.
Think about it. I mean, these guys here, Lance Armstrong and who's the other guy? I'm trying to remember the other American.
Hmm.
Well, what doesn't
Um,
matter.
couldn't remember.
Was
Think
it
I know who
Floyd,
it'll
you're
come to
talking
me.
Floyd
about.
Landis, I believe, is it?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Floyd. So we got the Tour de Farce that nobody cares about. Okay, the only reason it's getting any publicity is because I'm bringing it up, and we're talking about horse racing. Like Jordan said, once a cheater, always a cheater. And the last thing you want is horse racing to become like the Tour de Farce, okay, or bicycle racing where it doesn't become relevant. I mean, you think about the horse tracks that are being torn down, like one in Jacob's neck of the woods, Arlington Park, and a lot of them are just not being used. And the only time you ever hear about the horse racing is during the Triple Crown, and nobody cares.
Hmm.
Yep.
And so if I'm going to let Bob Baffert, will he ever learn? Will he ever be able to clear his name? I don't know. I think it's too late in the game to do it. And if he doesn't learn, you don't learn. I mean, how many more times can you ban the guy? And he was what you say he's in his 70s. Well, I mean, geez, oh
Yeah.
Pete. I mean, he's not like Roger Penske where you can live until you're 80 to 90 and keep winning and winning cleanly. Okay, at least motorsports has a guy who's legitimately winning and playing by the rules. Baffert's proven he hasn't played by the rules. And again, if you're hashtagging the show, call it the Tour de France, Tour de Farce. There you go.
There you go. Absolutely. I think, and again, I'll just reiterate that. I think he wants. He says he's just moved on, but I can just about guarantee you he doesn't want his career to go out on this note. I don't think anyone's would. I think if he had an opportunity to come back and make it right and at least go out on like a clean note, then it is what it is. And again, like people, have taken shortcuts, but this is professional sports. It's an act that's never going to end. You're just going to have to probably do it better than the next man. That's just being real.
Well, I'll give
But
you a great one-liner. You ready? It's
mm,
one thing to go out on top, but it's another to go out as a flop.
as a flop, yeah, very
Hmm.
true. So I want to swing it over to Jacob and your thoughts on this whole ordeal.
Let me tell you this: the one thing about time is it comes undefeated. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because Bob Baffert has been in our consciousness as far as on the media and everything like that, from horse racing to all that stuff, all our lives. Just darn near. You'll see him he owns whatever, how many horses. You see his face. He is out there. It's all that. You know what else we saw all those years? Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Donald Trump. I used to see a guy here and there on the news along with Trump, Harry Macklowe. He's along with Trump was real estate.
Right.
We used to see Rockefeller and the 20s, 30s, 40s, saw him all the way into the 80s. You want to know what happens? Why time breaks them? Because no one wants to change. No one changes. Trump got lucky in the fact of the presidency. He'll be around for the rest of their days. But everybody else fades away. Everybody else fades away because of ego. Life changes. Things change. Things that Bob Baffert was probably getting away with 25 years ago, 20 years ago, because media did not look into that kind of thing. So, I mean, yes, media still really didn't. Social media did. That kind of stuff like that. And then they ask questions. They see things. You see things from a Zoom camera now, like right at the beginning, 3 seconds after it happens. It's like you can't get away. He can't get away with this kind of stuff anymore. And so, yeah, he's going to fade away. And in fact, I wouldn't be shocked if he was banned for life eventually. And because this is ego gets in the way when you think you can get away with the same stuff you could in the 80s. It's like, look how many times Ric Flair has said, man, how many times I've been in jail if I would have had video from the 80s.
Yeah.
Or how many stuff like that. He's around because he was still around the wrestling thing, but he's not wrestling anymore. That is one match being terrible. But he's faded. Hulk Hogan, his name is known for about 95% of people, but he's not wrestling anymore. He's not in the movies.
No.
Names fade because no one changes. People won't change themselves. It's like, we'll give you a reference, the Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jericho, he changed a pile. You have to change to stay in this world, and you have to stay young. You have to stay young in mind, if not in body, to stay in this world. Just keep your mind up, and you can't act old. You can't act old. You can't act like it's the 80s. And that's the biggest thing, Bob Baffert, that was his biggest guilt.
Yeah, with it's called reinventing yourself, and a lot of times that's what you have to often do in order to stay relevant. I actually was thinking about this just the other day. I don't know how big of rap fans you guys are, but I was thinking like, you know what? That's just why even in today's rap era, you got rappers from the '90s. There's only a handful, like 4 or 5 of them that are still relevant because they change with the times to stay
Hmm.
relevant. Like I don't know. Imagine if the Doors were still around. Okay, Jim Morrison is still alive and everything. Could the sound that they had back in the '70s go right now, or would they had to have evolved?
One thing about the Doors, and you're correct on that, but one thing about them is you got to think of Lemmy from
Right.
Motorhead. Lemmy, because so many people was doing that sound that we know of now, the sweetening, the auto sweetening, and everything like that. He wasn't. So his stuff was bought by the nostalgics because it still sounded so genuine.
Right.
Maybe the Doors would do that. Who knows?
Who knows? But would it be the exact? And I'm not talking about like obviously like nowadays there's studios and everything as far as recording music, we've come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the exact sound like would Break On Through back then sound like a single now?
Right.
It probably wouldn't. But
What was your music, Scott?
I'm sorry, what's your
What was
question?
your favorite music?
Well, I mean, I always liked Eye of the Tiger.
that was
Not
just
that,
his song.
not that would surprise you, right?
Not at all.
I mean, come on, Jacob. Really?
Yeah.
Why would anybody be surprised that's ever gotten to know me on this platform think I'd have anything other than Eye of the Tiger, other than the fact that he has no sleep anyways, unless he's forced to?
Maybe you could have been the Stallone stunt double in the Hulk Hogan part of the movie.
Yeah, right.
Well, in all fairness, I think it's fair to say that whatever genre you were a fan of in high school, you're gonna be a genre for life. So I don't know who'd you listen to in high school, Scott.
Dude, I didn't listen to anybody. Well, maybe Barry Manilow.
You still listen to him today?
I don't listen to anybody today.
Oh, you just riding a silent car?
Well, no, actually, what I'm actually doing is writing YouTube every time I go on a major road, and I have to listen to music. But other than that, I'm too busy building 2 platforms. I don't have time for any music.
Well, I get that, but like if you were in a car, like what station would it be? Contemporary or rock or
I wouldn't listen to any of them. I'd go ahead and take all the songs that I've added to my YouTube playlist and just play them.
Oh, and just play them. Okay.
Yeah,
So you have more
Jordan.
variety then.
There was a
What
time
about
when
you?
I had satellite radio, but once they took away that 1 year for free and now they reduced it to 6 months, I just keep it. I don't want it.
Oh, okay.
And
So
then
you
I
just
just
have
YouTube it. Got to promote our brand on YouTube. Got to listen to the music on YouTube. YouTube's a beautiful thing. And don't forget to subscribe to Sideline Sports YouTube and mine too, South Florida Tribune. Since we're on the YouTube team, go ahead.
all
And
right.
Jordan, what about
As
you?
for my music, I mean, I way have evolved. I know I was into the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg in high school. Now I'm listening to more, well, they would call it pop punk, but to me, it's rock and roll with, Fall Out Boy, Green Day. I mean, I still listen to like 90s rap, but more of it. It's just more to me, it's just rock and roll.
It's more rock. Yeah, that's fair enough. All right. Well, we do have about probably 20 minutes left, so we'll go ahead and go into our next one. And this probably shouldn't take too long, but the NBA midseason tournament pros and cons. So, to those of you all who don't know, they approved of the NBA midseason tournament. And basically what it is the 30 NBA teams will be divided into 6 groups of 5 teams based on their previous regular season record. They were split into 5 pots in a random draw in which they were placed from 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 6 to 9, 10 to 12, and from 13 to 15. And so the prize pool, players on winning a team of championships is $500,000 each. Players on a losing team, championship, $200,000 each. Players losing on the semifinals, $100,000 each. Losing team of the quarterfinals, $50,000 each. Real quick, of course, the pro is always going to be money because I don't think anyone wants to play extra games for free. But the con is that's just it. So you play 82 games, okay? And some preseason games. I don't expect, the big stars to play preseason too much nowadays, But I mean, it's just extra basketball. I mean, and that's not including the playoffs, I mean, that is just one exhausting run. And granted, yes, there's some exec that works for the NBA that says these guys get paid millions and millions of dollars. Yes, I get it, okay? But it doesn't mean that you have to pile on needless games and work. I mean, these guys are human beings too. And it's sad that we even have to have, this kind of conversation because, these athletes, they're being looked at as machines. Hell, even the common worker working in the cubicle that's, making 13 an hour is seen as a machine. Even the fast food guy is seen as a machine. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem with, today's society is they see the people who work underneath them as machines. And all it's going to take is for a player, doesn't even have to be a bench player, doesn't even have to be a mid-level player. We'll say, and I'm not manifesting this when I say this, okay? But a big headliner, a LeBron, a Curry, a Durant, a John Morant, or whoever, to have a a season-ending injury during the tournament, and then what's the uproar? As a matter of fact, I'm going to lead. I'm going to go ahead and swing it off to Jacob here. Should a major star suffer a season-ending injury in the tournament? On a scale of 1 to 10, how big is that backlash?
47. At 47. It's like the biggest thing is we don't have to get this. I mean, maybe in the final or something like that, but LeBron's not playing until the final, maybe semifinals. He's not playing that knockout round. He's not playing round robin. There's no way. No way Kevin Durant is. Truthfully, I bet you Wembanyama doesn't. I mean, everybody that we've ever in media has put millions and billions of dollars into the advertising isn't playing that tournament. They're not playing. That tournament will be basically a kind of a heavier duty with a couple extra players summer league. The couple extra players. Here's the deal. You might see, I'm just bringing this up just because there's something that quote unquote prove even though you won't do anything about it. You might see like James Harden.
Right.
Just because of that thing. You might see, ones that is aging, that kind of deal. It looks like Kimbo Slice without the weights, that sort of deal.
Right.
I mean, but it's like you might see him. You might, you're going to see, you probably see Trae Young because everybody that's having the doubts, you're going to see them.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see that. But, okay, definitely like an Austin Reeves, you will. But the big monster stars, and there's not that many left. Got to remember this right now. There's not that many left. You're hoping Wembanyama makes it through. You're hoping Brandon Miller?
Yeah.
You're hoping Brandon Miller makes it through. You hope they make it through where they can become stars, but they're not that yet. You're running low on those, and that's what they're probably trying to get on this. But like I said, you're going to have a summer league with a couple extra stars. That's what you're going to have until like semifinals and finals, because they will opt out of those big stars will opt out of every round robin you will ever see.
Unless they
There's
the finals, yep.
way. As far as the pros, the biggest thing about it is the fact that it's like there's going to be fans. It's kind of a pro for a fan because if there is a team that is like 2 games out of the final playoff spot into the halfway point, okay? If there are, and one of those teams wins the tournament, the fans are going to get themselves some hope that their team can make themselves a run because they got momentum now. Because you don't get to have the All-Star game too often. You're all sitting and you're watching other players. This, you're giving teams hope. It's like the Summer League gave Sacramento hope, and then they made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So this halfway point, if someone, especially a couple of teams out, they're going to have that hope. The fans will. So the pro is on the fans more than the players.
Yeah, absolutely. And on their side of the fence, of course, they're wanting the ratings, they're wanting the extra revenue, and so forth. It's just at what point does this come to a cap? But I want to swing it over to Jordan and get your thoughts about this whole thing, pros and cons.
I think obviously the pros is it's more money for the NBA. Like Jacob said, fans are going to get into it. But the thing that I don't like is, like Danzel said, you're going to get more games. And for what? the cup is going to be the NBA Cup. I'm sure if you ask, I'm going to use the Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, would you rather win an NBA championship or the NBA Cup? Of course, he would say the NBA championship. And I do agree with Jacob. Not the big stars are going to play in this. I just think what the NBA is trying to do is to have another winner besides the NBA championship. But we all know the only thing that matters to a player, at least like a Nikola Jokic and everybody in the league, is to win that ring. I'm not sure you're going to get a ring for this other than some money.
Yeah, and Jordan can say that because his Nuggets finally won it all. Just what was it, like last month? Yeah, it feels like forever ago. Even though it's only been like 4 weeks. Man, that's crazy. But I want to swing it over to Scott and yeah, I know this is new. This is definitely, and as much as we're been on Basket Bros, by the way, you all can catch Basket Bros Sunday night at at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Sideline Sports Network. Scott Morgan is on there along with Jacob Christner. Down to Rubens is sometime on there, and shout out to our guy Will Vogel. He's on there also. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more to talk about on basketball, but just real quick, give us your thoughts about this whole mid-season tournament.
Yeah, don't forget George Eichhorn comes on when I'm not there. There's a chance I may not be there this weekend. I may be going down to the Keys just to take a much-needed breather. I'm not sure yet. It's possible.
Ain't no problem.
But at any rate, I don't see any pros at all, to be honest with you. I think it's a joke. Number one, if David Stern saw this, he'd be turning over in his grave or mausoleum. This is nothing more than just a gimmick for a league that definitely needs a gimmick to keep it interesting, period. I don't know who could come up with something this stupid. Well, Adam Silver does. Okay, this is a joke. The cons, well, everything. It's stupid. I mean, think about it. The NBA play-in tournament made a little more sense when the Miami Heat broke through all the way to the NBA Finals, where they got hot at the right time. So I might have been able to save a little face with that one. But if you think you're going to sell me this, no way. So I don't know. We call pros in the NBA playing in it, but that's the only pros I could see in basketball are pro players. But pros to this tournament, go away, as Gomer Pyle would say, okay? That's what he would say. Or as Keith Jackson would say, oh, Nelly.
Nelly.
Right. But I would say, no, Nelly, for this one. And cons, everything, period.
Absolutely. I think we're all kind of in agreement here that this is just a bad idea. I don't think that I have to go back.
That's an understatement, Dens. Come on, really?
Yeah. No. I say that because, and I may have to go back and look at the overall ratings from last year because what would be the reason why you would even do this? If you had even then I would disagree with it. But it's not like you had failing ratings. You know what I mean? And this is just kind of a desperate attempt to, get the fans back in and so forth.
Well,
but
I'll tell you how to get the fans back. Okay, ready? Everybody will basketball will bring it back 80s and 90s basketball. This is an atrocious idea, or if you want to manage the eyes, an idiotic idea. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Bring the fans back, play real basketball, play defense, okay? That's all you have to do. But instead of coming up with gimmicks just to go ahead and throw the three-point play, this is a joke. Probably the reason I don't even cover the league.
By the way, update just to let you know, as of 30 minutes ago, Dick Vitale has throat cancer again.
I got a notification on that also.
That's sad. Love Dickie.
Yeah, he's gonna need a 6-week recovery time. So yeah, well wishes to him most definitely. Well, we're in our final 10 minutes. And we actually got to get. Hey, Kenny just sent me the thread to the Sports Exchange. Wow! Speaking of which, right after this telecast, you can go on over to the South Florida Tribune and catch the Sports Exchange hosted by Scott Morganrath, and Jacob's going to be there. I'm going to be there. I think JB's going to be there. There's going to be a guest, too. He's a mystery to me, but not to Scott. But you can catch it.
JB will actually be off one more night, and then he should be back next week. I think his
next week. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I'm actually hosting Confidential. Okay. But yes, this is right after this telecast. Go over to YouTube and type in South Florida Tribune, and you can catch it on there. Also, you can catch it on Facebook and Twitter as well on South Florida Tribune. And real quick, right before our pundit shots, Northwestern football head coach Pat Fitzgerald fired among hazing allegations. Who's this, Jacob?
Yeah.
Go for it.
This is the thing. I got to ask this question to all these, because I'm hearing this quite a bit in the last couple of years. All of these, upperclassmen taking advantage of these lower classmen or lower everything sexually, putting shit and stuff up their ass, doing the fake, doing fake sexual things toward them. What's your problem, kids? I'm dead serious about this. Do you not get enough? Do you not get enough from a girlfriend, or do you not have any, or are you addicted to porn? It's something along those lines. Why is that an initiation into your team? Why is that initiation? But then something else that came into play was big too. They were saying how the one thing I heard is that coaches just said this. One of the backup quarterbacks that ended up transferring lied about some of the things Fitzgerald did so he could get himself fired. And the kid left. Just a spoiled little brat that did that part. But Fitzgerald's going to sue. We know this. He's going to probably find another team somewhere. But here's the thing about this. We have a lot of coaches. They work so much they're not online. They don't realize this isn't the Junction Boys anymore.
No, it's not.
This isn't Junction Boys. There are coaches that are still withholding water from kids. They're out there in Texas. They're withholding water from kids. They think that this is toughening them up. Meanwhile, remember Corey Stringer died. We talked about that a couple of shows ago.
I remember when that happened.
He died, and he was withheld water. And he was about 350 pounds.
Yeah.
You're doing this. This is not Junction Boys anymore. You've got to remember how many kids, watch that movie. Watch the story. How many of those kids ran away? Only 25 survived.
I saw that movie. Good movie, actually.
Great movie, actually. But guess what? 25 of those kids survived the whole thing, and they go forever. And you want to know what their record was at the beginning of the very first year after that? 1-10.
I remember that.
Wow.
After that fact, and they all went together and they did everything. That's when they started winning. But this isn't that type of deal. This isn't that type of thing. You don't need to be screaming and hollering, getting in their face, and trying to harass and everything. There's ways of doing this. You want to know who got the way because he wins? Monty Williams.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson had it. You can be chill. You can be mad when you need to be, but chill will still work. I mean, your genuine self will work. Bob Knight doesn't work anymore. It's just what the thing is. And it's like Pat Fitzgerald. The one thing, if nothing else, I hope when he probably, I bet you anything, he goes to Iowa when Ferentz is gone. But it's like, I'll bet you he'll take his money, he'll take his year off, he'll get his money from his lawsuit, then he'll probably go to Iowa, I'll bet you anything. But it's the thing he's going to learn from something like that is the tough love thing with a spoiled world that's had air conditioning all their lives. Yeah. Can't do the same thing. So you got to figure, it doesn't mean you don't be tough, there's just a different way of doing it.
Right, absolutely. And real quick, Scott, your thoughts about this, and before we get the punted shots.
All right, well, here's the deal, okay? 17 years of Northwestern does leave with a winning record, at least that much. So it's unfortunate he had to go out this way. That is his alma mater. But you know what, Jacob, I disagree with you. I think Fitzgerald's next spot's the pros, the NFL.
Interesting.
He's done with college. Don't have to deal with men, not kids. And I'll tell you, if you deal with men, you treat them this way, they're going to kill you anyways. If you need living proof, Urban Meyer found that out. So, you don't talk to men the way you talk to kids. But Pat Fitzgerald's not that kind of a guy. He stayed there and made them relevant for 17 years. It's too bad he had to go out the way he did.
And you're correct on that.
It's
and you're right. You're correct on that. And I can see that. The big thing, all I'm bringing up with this world, real fast, I'm bringing this up. It's the fact that we used to, my dad grew up in a time when they had the heat wave and they went under a shade tree to avoid it. They didn't have air conditioning, so you can be tough on them. Right. This is a whole era of air conditioning, of phones, of everything. Right. It's a different time, so there's different ways of being tough, and you can figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, Jordan, your thoughts about this?
I mean, I read that Pat Fitzgerald didn't know what was going on, and I don't believe that. He's the head football coach. You have to know what's going on in your program. If this happened, he should have known about it. And honestly, I don't feel bad for him that he got fired. Yes, he's probably going to sue for, wrongful firing or whatever, but still, he had to know what was going on. I don't feel bad for him being fired.
Yeah, no, agreed. And it's like that with pretty much any controversy to this degree with any football coach, especially at the college level. Well, real quick, we got to get to our pundit parting shots, and then we got to get Scott over to the South Florida Tribune for the Sports Exchange. So, real quick, my pundit shot. So yesterday at the Major League Baseball All-Star game, a heavy Seattle Mariners crowd chanted Shohei as Shohei Ohtani got up to bat. And this right here wasn't just because they liked the guy. I think that was a bit of an invite. I think that chant was a bit of an open door. This is living proof that not only is this man the best player in Major League Baseball, he has to be the biggest free agent in the last 20 years. You got a crowd from a team in your division that is wanting you to come over there because that's exactly what I perceive it as. And let's face it, he goes to the Mariners. What team is exactly turning him down? Shohei Ohtani is the real deal. Jake and I have had discussions about this man. Best player in baseball, bar none. Yesterday just reiterated it.
So if you look at the Pro Football Hall of Fame finalists, we have for the Broncos, there's Dan Reeves, Mike Shanahan. And honestly, I don't understand why Mike Shanahan nor Dan Reeves are in. Mike Shanahan won 2 rings with the Denver Broncos. Of course, he helped us with one of the best records. Dan Reeves went to a couple of Super Bowls with him. How are these guys not in? Dan Reeves is not even with us anymore. Please don't let it happen to Mike Shanahan. Get both of these guys in because they both deserve it as head coaches for the Denver Broncos and their organization because they are the best that ever did it.
Well, time to go home run derby, right? Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Jr. both own home run derby titles. First time father and son actors have ever done it. Only problem last night was when it came down to crunch time, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. needed to hit a home run and didn't hit it. Didn't have one home run left in that all-star tank. Result, National League 3, American League 2. But at least hats off to my Miami Marlins guys, Luis Arias and Jorge Soler. Pretty good nights for a Miami team, which the upside to me is unlimited for my fish. But sorry, Vlad, you needed one more home run to get your team a win, and you didn't get it.
Kevin Warren just said that he wants to create the most state-of-the-art stadium in the United States. It's probably whether it's Soldier Field and they have to stay or it's over in Arlington Park. He wants to create the greatest, and that's going to be fun to watch. But this is the point, Bears fans, because you won't listen. You are emotional nitwits. This is what you don't understand. Why? I think ahead and you do not. I don't have to think past the next down. I think about 3 years down the line. Thing is, I knew we were going to have a new stadium. I knew this thing was going to happen. There's probably going to be a new ownership. It's all of that stuff. I have these thought processes, and you can have these thought processes too if you put 2 and 2 together. But you know something? You wanted Justin Fields so bad to play too early because you wanted Mitchell Trubisky's numbers to be broken. You're selfish jerks. And guess what? He didn't come close. Now he's in his hope. I hope and pray he has the time of his life, sees some of his life, and go get his bag. Otherwise, we're going to lose him. And see, this is the big thing. In Las Vegas, do you know who opened Las Vegas? John Gruden, because he's a star level mind. Justin Fields is that star to be able to open that. They need a star to open that place. All you had to do was wait. Let him have this. Instead, now it's an unnecessary 1 year. And he has to have it. I hope he does. Then you can be excited if he does. But if not, this blame is on you.
Absolutely. And, well, everybody, that is our telecast for today. Everybody going over to South Florida Tribune on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and catch the Sports Exchange and catch all of us on there. So, for Scott Morgan, Jordan Long, Jacob Christen, and myself, I'm Denzel Snipes. We'll see you all in 7 days. And then right after the South Florida Tribune, come back over to Sideline Sports and tune in for an all-star game / home run derby themed Confidential. Later.